As the woman stared at King Shuang's body, her body trembled uncontrollably. After a long while, she closed her eyes, but the trembling of her eyelashes revealed the intense shock within her. Wang Lin carefully observed every change in her expression, gambling that she would recognize the stop spell and recognize King Shuang himself. Although it was the perfect opportunity to launch a surprise attack, Wang Lin abandoned the idea because the woman filled him with an overwhelming sense of danger. The sliver of source origin she had displayed had terrified him. Even Master Flame's Park only possessed the aura of source origin and could not truly use it. Yet this woman had actually wielded source origin itself. Against such an opponent, a sneak attack would accomplish nothing. The surroundings remained silent except for the faint fragrance of flowers and the endless petals drifting down to form a sea beneath them. After about 15 minutes, the woman finally opened her eyes and looked at King Shuang's body again. She parted her lips as if she wanted to speak, but at that moment a loud rumbling echoed from deep within the cave, shattering the silence. Along with it came loud cursing. Situan's arrogant voice rang through the cave as he chased a streak of white light, shouting that no treasure he desired could escape. The white light contained a small white jade bottle that emitted a gentle glow. Wrapped in black mist, Situan pursued it relentlessly. When he formed a seal, the black mist transformed into a ferocious beast that lunged at the bottle. Just before being caught, the bottle suddenly shattered into countless fragments that pierced through the beast before reassembling on the opposite side and speeding away again. Delighted, Situan laughed and continued the chase. The fleeing treasure soon approached Wang Lin and the woman in white. Wang Lin's eyes flashed. The bottle flew directly toward the woman, who frowned slightly and casually waved her jade-like hand, causing the bottle to gently land in her palm. However, the instant she caught it, the bottle exploded into countless fragments that shot toward her. At that moment Situan appeared and shouted for Wang Lin to leave. Wang Lin immediately stored King Shuang's body and the pagoda before retreating at full speed. Situan quickly formed hand seals and unleashed the celestial spell Spatial Crack. Space distorted as countless vortexes suddenly appeared and surged toward the woman. Taking advantage of the distraction, Situan retreated together with Wang Lin toward the cave entrance. The shattered bottle fragments rushed toward the woman's face, but a single glance from her froze them in midair. She calmly continued walking forward. Situan's countless spatial crack vortexes strangely passed straight through her body without affecting her in the slightest. As she walked, she calmly asked whether they no longer wished to enter the cave. Although her voice remained cold, it contained no killing intent. While retreating, Wang Lin hesitated before suddenly stopping to face her. Situan also stopped without hesitation. He had previously separated from Wang Lin to search for treasures but later sensed the crisis and returned, especially after discovering that Master Hollow Wind and the others had disappeared. Since he could not abandon Wang Lin, he had deliberately returned to create an opportunity for escape. Seeing Wang Lin stop, Situan remained beside him and coldly watched the approaching woman. Wang Lin cupped his hands and respectfully asked if Senior intended to allow them inside. After a long silence, the woman sighed, turned toward the palace, and told him to follow her before floating toward the palace. Wang Lin exchanged a glance with Situan, who remarked that the woman was extremely strange. The woman then said that if they did not wish to follow, they could leave because their companions were already waiting outside. She entered the palace alone and disappeared into the darkness. Remembering the changes in her expression after seeing King Shuang, Wang Lin's eyes filled with determination. He declared that he would enter by himself. Situan understood that if both entered and something went wrong, neither would be able to resist. So he silently nodded. Their mutual trust required no further words. Wang Lin immediately rushed to the palace entrance, took a deep breath, and stepped inside. The interior was shrouded in absolute darkness that blocked not only his vision but also his divine sense, limiting it to only a few dozen feet. He could vaguely make out several enormous shadows resembling statues, but he could not see them clearly. The palace was deathly silent except for the gentle footsteps of the woman walking deeper inside. Suddenly even those footsteps vanished, and her faint voice echoed through the hall. Asking for his name, Wang Lin answered that he was Wang Lin. The woman quietly repeated the surname Wang to herself, murmuring that he truly was named Wang. Silence filled the palace once more. Although Wang Lin remained calm on the surface, he was extremely vigilant. His origin energy circulated throughout his body, ready to retaliate at the slightest danger. The third eye between his brows also appeared, remaining closed while the source origin energy within stood ready to emerge at a single thought. Wang Lin deeply feared the woman. Although he stood at the peak of the mid-Nirvana Scryer stage and could battle Nirvana Cleanser cultivators with his ancient god body, he knew he was no match for her. Nevertheless, there were things he had to do regardless of the danger. The woman then seemed to wave her right hand, causing a faint light to appear, like a flame in endless darkness. It dimly illuminated the palace. Under the weak light, Wang Lin finally saw the interior and could not help gasping. The palace resembled a mortal Taoist temple containing 9 statues. 8 stood along the sides while a central statue was carved with numerous intricate patterns and emitted a faint golden radiance. However, the surrounding darkness continuously devoured the golden light, trapping it within the statue and giving it an eerie presence. The central statue depicted a handsome middle-aged man with profound eyes wearing a noble yellow robe embroidered with 9 fierce purple dragons. Though merely carvings, the dragons radiated overwhelming ferocity. Behind him were carved black clouds rather than white ones, making the figure appear even more majestic and imposing. The instant Wang Lin looked at the statue, his mind roared and an unimaginable aura crashed into him. It was the most powerful aura he had ever encountered. King Shui, Master Flamespark, the All-Seer, and even the mysterious third-step elder of the All-Heaven star system were all inferior to it. The pressure alone made Wang Lin's body tremble violently, forcing him to cough up blood. As he retreated, he attempted to activate his origin energy, only to discover in horror that it had shrunk back as though terrified of appearing before the statue. An invisible pressure completely suppressed his origin energy no matter how hard it struggled. It was as though all the origin energy in heaven and earth had to submit before this statue. Wang Lin was filled with fear. His heart pounded wildly as if his blood had first stopped flowing before rushing violently toward his heart. During more than 1.300 years of cultivation, he had never experienced such a phenomenon. Yet there was no time to dwell on it. Unable to use his origin energy, with his blood surging uncontrollably through his body, he felt an overwhelming pressure attempting to force him to kneel before the statue and submit to its authority. Wang Lin's eyes turned crimson as he let out a furious roar and erupted with the power of his ancient god bloodline. Ancient gods neither revered the heavens nor followed the Tao, they walked against the heavens. And this was the will of the ancient order. Wang Lin refused to submit to the overwhelming pressure released by the statue. Drawing upon the full power of his ancient god bloodline, he stood upright and confronted the statue for a second time. His mind rumbled violently and the force spread throughout his body, making him tremble, but his eyes remained filled with unyielding determination. He declared that nothing could make an ancient god bow, not the heavens, not the laws of the world, and certainly not a mere statue. The ancient god stars between his eyebrows rotated rapidly. Cracking sounds echoed from within his body, and although he did not transform into his true ancient god form, his physical body rapidly became stronger. This allowed even greater ancient god power to surge through him, enabling him to stand as firmly as a mountain while releasing an unyielding aura that directly resisted the statue's suppressive force. Invisible ripples collided, creating a violent storm that swept through the hall and forced Wang Lin backward once again. Refusing to retreat, Wang Lin let out a furious roar and stared directly at the statue. At that moment, he had the illusion that the statue had come alive and was coldly staring back at him. He released the mighty roar of an ancient god, a roar before which all living beings were destined to retreat. The entire cave shook violently as though it could not withstand the sound. At the same time, Wang Lin raised his foot and forcefully stepped forward. Although it was only a single step, it required unimaginable effort under the crushing pressure that instinctively forced all beings to retreat. Wang Lin understood that retreat meant yielding, and once he yielded, he would completely lose. The ancient gods were beings who dared to challenge both heaven and the Tao. If he bowed before a mere statue, he would no longer be worthy of inheriting the ancient god legacy. As he took that step, terrifying cracking sounds erupted from inside his body. Advancing meant abandoning all possibility of compromise and confronting the pressure head-on. Exactly as the ancient god inheritance demanded, Wang Lin realized that retreating 10 steps, 100 steps, or merely standing still while enduring the pressure all represented weakness because they meant accepting the will of heaven. Taking even one step forward, however, represented true rebellion and defiance. The statue's pressure immediately increased several times over, descending upon him like countless gigantic mountains. Blood burst from the pores on his back, yet he stubbornly took another step, declaring that he was a heaven-defying cultivator who had already challenged both heaven and fate. Wang Lin refused to retreat. The pressure became even more terrifying, but he continued forward, proclaiming that one who sought the Tao could be born at dawn and die at sunset. While a heaven-defying cultivator possessed a heart that feared nothing, not even death, blood sprayed continuously from his body until he was completely covered in it. Yet he laughed loudly, his laughter overflowing with an unyielding spirit. At that moment, every distracting thought vanished from his mind, leaving only the single thought of defy. He recalled how he had once defied heaven in the demon spirit land to break into the ascendant stage. And now, once again in the same land, the rebellious nature that he had sealed away and suppressed during his years in all heaven completely erupted. Everything seemed to come full circle through karma. Still laughing, Wang Lin took a third step. The instant his foot landed, the unimaginable pressure from the statue disappeared completely, as though it had never existed. The woman in white watched Wang Lin beneath the statue with an extremely complicated expression, while only Wang Lin's laughter echoed throughout the palace before gradually fading away. Wang Lin had already guessed the identity of the statue because its appearance somewhat resembled King Shuang, and only one person could possess a statue capable of releasing such terrifying pressure: Celestial Emperor King Lin. Sweat soaked Wang Lin's back as he realized that the danger he had just experienced surpassed anything before. Without his ancient god body, he would have exploded and died instantly. Looking coldly at the woman in white, Wang Lin heard her quietly announce that he had passed the test. When he asked for her identity, she introduced herself as Flower Imperial Concubine Han Yan, one of Celestial Emperor King Lin's 8 imperial concubines, gazing affectionately at King Lin's statue with eyes filled with deep love and tenderness. She sighed softly before waving her jade-like hand. The palace trembled as all the floor tiles rose into the air under a mysterious force and assembled themselves into a strange teleportation formation between Wang Lin and Han Yan. After the tiles disappeared, the ground beneath them revealed an endless starry sky instead of a solid floor. Countless stars and nebulae filled the darkness, and Wang Lin noticed that the stars were actually moving rather than remaining still. Han Yan explained that what he saw was not an illusion but reality. The demon spirit land itself was actually a celestial cave drifting through outer space by means of a special celestial method. She explained that the teleportation formation before him would send him to the sealed region. And if he possessed the ability to break the seal, he could enter the true celestial cave. Wang Lin asked whether Celestial Emperor King Lin was inside that celestial cave. Han Yan explained that King Lin had returned after suffering severe injuries and being attacked by 2 despicable outsiders. After returning, he entered the celestial cave to heal himself in seclusion. Originally, there had been no entrance at all, but later King Lin personally created 4 entrances. Once all 4 entrances were opened, a true entrance would appear within the demon spirit land, leading directly to the place where he was undergoing closed-door cultivation. Han Yan further explained that because Wang Lin possessed the stop spell, carried King Shuang's body, and bore the surname Wang, she would not prevent him from proceeding. She also told him that after entering the teleportation formation, he would soon reunite with his companions. Wang Lin immediately asked why his surname mattered. Han Yan merely answered that if fate allowed, he would understand the reason in the future. She then slowly walked toward the darkness. Wang Lin asked why, with her immense cultivation, she would not accompany him. Han Yan paused with her back facing him and replied bitterly that she could not leave before disappearing into the darkness. Deep within the palace, beyond Wang Lin's perception, Han Yan's lonely expression remained unchanged. White light surrounded her body, but the light merged perfectly with the surrounding darkness. Azure light spread upward from beneath her feet until it enveloped her completely. In a flash, her figure disappeared and was replaced by an extraordinarily beautiful flower blooming silently in the depths of the palace. The flower sadly revealed that Flower Imperial Concubine Han Yan had already died long ago and that all that remained was a flower celestial forever bound to the cave. Unable to leave, the magnificent flower bloomed alone in eternal darkness where no one could admire its beauty. After reflecting upon everything that had happened, Wang Lin stepped toward the teleportation formation. Just before entering, he glanced toward the distant darkness as though he had sensed or discovered something hidden there. He then entered the formation, which immediately began to shine before transporting him away. Wang Lin reappeared inside an illusory space where an enormous formation covered the ground and a massive black stone stood at its center. After carefully examining the surroundings, he walked to the black stone and took out the celestial cave key he had previously obtained. As soon as the key emerged, it transformed into green smoke and merged into the black stone. Instantly, the enormous formation activated. Brilliant light spread throughout the area as countless runes rose into the air. At the same time, Wang Lin established a subtle connection with the entire 4th cave. His vision blurred briefly before every location within the cave appeared clearly inside his mind. It was as though the entire 4th cave had become an extension of his consciousness. With a single thought, he could manipulate every restriction and control everything inside the cave except for the mysterious palace itself. Through this control, Wang Lin found Situan, Master Hollow Wind, the 3 Chen brothers, Big Head, and Lei Ji, who had all disappeared beneath the sea of flowers earlier. With a single thought, Master Hollow Wind, the 3 Chen brothers, Big Head, and Lei Ji instantly vanished from where they stood. Situan, however, had remained vigilant ever since Wang Lin disappeared. Just then, he suddenly sensed a familiar divine sense sweeping across him. Immediately recognizing it as Wang Lin's, he exclaimed Wang Lin's name before he too was teleported beside the great formation. Wang Lin informed everyone that the 4th cave had now been completely opened. Knowing Lei Ji's cultivation was still insufficient, He ordered Lei Ji to remain behind and wait for their return while the others continued onward. As Wang Lin spoke, the great formation beneath them flashed with brilliant light, and at that exact moment, an earth-shaking transformation began throughout the entire demon spirit land. A mysterious phenomenon appeared above the northern plains of the demon spirit land as clouds gathered from every direction. Forming a vast sea of clouds, a pillar of light erupted from the ground, piercing the heavens while releasing powerful shockwaves that forced the clouds apart. The pillar expanded into rings of light across the sky and released dense celestial spiritual energy that quickly spread across nearly 30% of the demon spirit land. Several black birds caught within the celestial energy had the demonic energy expelled from their bodies, transforming into intelligent white cranes that flew away joyfully. Because the demon spirit land was filled with demonic energy, the newly released celestial spiritual energy violently clashed with it. Although the demonic energy initially suppressed the celestial energy, the pillar continued releasing more power until celestial spiritual energy occupied a 50-kilometer area, creating a stable balance where neither side could overwhelm the other. Inside the third cave, Ling Tianhu, the purple-robed middle-aged man, and Master Void sat within the formation. After opening his eyes, Ling Tianhu summoned the cave key from a spatial crack and remarked that Wang Lin had opened the fourth cave in only 7 days, far exceeding his expectations, since it had taken him nearly a month just to open the third cave. He then activated the formation by directing green smoke into the black stone. At the same time, another pillar of light erupted in the western spirit demon country, releasing another surge of celestial spiritual energy that clashed with the surrounding demonic energy. The northern and western pillars resonated with each other, greatly increasing their power as they attempted to expand beyond the 50-kilometer limit. Soon afterward, a third pillar of light appeared in the south, beginning another battle between celestial and demonic energy. Within the second cave, the All-Seer quietly watched the formation. Although his expression remained calm, a subtle light flashed through his eyes as he silently reflected that only 7 days had passed, revealing nothing of his true thoughts. The appearance of 3 pillars alarmed all the powerful cultivators throughout the demon spirit land. The unprecedented changes in the demonic energy caused widespread panic. Although the celestial spiritual energy from the 3 pillars fought against the demonic energy across nearly the entire sky except the east, the countless years of accumulated demonic energy remained too overwhelming for the 3 pillars alone to completely transform the land. Inside the first cave, Wang Wei and Hu Wan of the celestial cloud cultivation pair stood within a massive formation. Wang Wei could barely suppress his excitement as he declared that the long-awaited day had finally arrived. Hu Wan confidently stated they would succeed, and Wang Wei replied that after planning for so many years, they had no choice but to succeed. Behind them stood a purple shadow radiating a fierce aura that Wang Lin would have immediately recognized. Wang Wei revealed that the demon spirit land had once been known as the celestial spirit heaven realm before activating the formation through the black stone, declaring that the demonic energy was like poison and that the land's true form would now return. He completed the activation. A 4th pillar of light immediately shot into the sky from the east. The 4 pillars in the north, south, east, and west resonated together, forming a gigantic formation. Their combined power multiplied several times, creating an immense storm of celestial spiritual energy that swept across the entire demon spirit land. As the celestial storm spread, the dark red earth regained its healthy black color, plants sprouted with new life, and the corrupted demonic forest returned to its original appearance as towering ancient trees. Countless demonic beasts were transformed as the celestial spiritual energy purified them. A black one-horned tiger preparing to hunt a group of violent purple demonic deer was swept by the storm. The demonic energy vanished. The deer's purple bodies returned to their natural appearance and became peaceful celestial creatures. While the tiger's horn shattered, its black fur turned white, its savage nature disappeared, and intelligence replaced its former brutality. The entire demonic jungle was restored until it resembled the celestial realm. The rivers also underwent purification, once filled with demonic energy that corrupted both the water and its creatures. They became crystal clear with a refreshing sweetness. Hideous carnivorous fish transformed into colorful, peaceful fish that happily swam through the purified waters. From above, the entire demon spirit land visibly transformed as the celestial spiritual energy spread across every corner. It became clear that the land had originally been meant to exist in this pure state, but an ancient event had corrupted it into a demonic realm. The 4 pillars relentlessly cleansed the accumulated demonic energy, stripping away the veil that had covered the land for countless years and revealing its original appearance. Every city and tribe was affected. The inhabitants collapsed in agony as the demonic energy stored within their bodies was forced out and dissipated. Once the purification ended, the demonic energy that had accumulated throughout their lives was completely gone. They regained clear consciousness, felt refreshed, and were left confused by the sudden transformation. As the four pillars continuously released celestial spiritual energy, it gradually filled the entire world. The sky brightened. The demonic energy almost completely disappeared. Green mountains and clear rivers reappeared. White cranes flew through the skies. Spirit beasts roamed peacefully, and all demonic beasts vanished. The demon spirit land had been restored to its original identity as the celestial spirit heaven realm. However, despite the complete restoration, a few places still retained immovable concentrations of demonic energy that even the overwhelming celestial spiritual energy could not eliminate. In one valley, a pool of water contained a demonic face that watched the sweeping celestial spiritual energy with eyes glowing with sinister demonic light. King Lin's plan had succeeded beyond expectations. The opening of the cave caused an enormous transformation throughout the demon spirit land. Beilu realized that if he had not absorbed the other ancient demon spirit, he would have been completely suppressed by the returning celestial spiritual energy. However, none of that mattered anymore. With the cave finally open, he believed his long-awaited goal was within reach, declaring that he was coming for the ancient devil and the celestial emperor. Beilu burst out of the water in a beam of demonic light. As the celestial spiritual energy swept toward him, the demonic aura surrounding him absorbed it instead, further strengthening his demonic power. Deep beneath the demon country in the celestial spirit heaven realm, Yao Shishui immediately sensed the celestial spiritual energy. Her body trembled as ghostly light filled her eyes and overwhelming demonic energy erupted from her body. A massive vortex formed around her, crushing and absorbing all nearby celestial spiritual energy. She then disappeared from the cavern and reappeared in the sky, completely shrouded in dense demonic aura before transforming into a streak of demonic light and flying away. The Fire Demon Country, home of the Soul Refining Sect, was another exception. When the celestial spiritual energy reached Wang Lin's stone statue deep inside the sect, it attempted to disperse the demonic energy sealed within it. A sharp cry erupted from inside the statue, filling the millions of Soul Refining Sect disciples with anxiety. Without any orders, nearly every disciple summoned their soul flags, releasing countless soul fragments that formed a protective barrier around the statue. Although the entire capital was surrounded by soul fragments resisting the celestial spiritual energy, the sect resembled a lonely boat struggling against an endless storm. Even so, the millions of disciples refused to retreat. At that critical moment, 1/4 of the celestial spiritual energy unexpectedly changed as if it possessed its own will. Instead of attacking, it formed a vortex that shielded the Soul Refining Sect against the other 3 streams of celestial spiritual energy. The remaining energy simply bypassed the sect before all 4 streams merged again and continued sweeping across the world. As celestial spiritual energy completely filled the celestial spirit heaven realm, the 4 giant pillars of light shone brilliantly and connected with one another, weaving an enormous protective barrier over the entire realm. The ancient protection formation of the celestial spirit heaven realm had been fully reactivated. At the center of the realm, within an endless mountain range enclosed by the 4 pillars, the earth violently shook. Mountains collapsed one after another as thick clouds of dust covered the land. A purple dragon emerged from one of the collapsing peaks, roaring toward the heavens with majestic dignity and icy eyes. Soon, more mountains crumbled as additional purple dragons emerged until all 9 purple dragons were flying in the sky. Their eternal dragon roars echoed across the realm as they intertwined and formed the 9 dragon formation. The instant the formation was completed, celestial spiritual energy within the area exploded violently, and the glowing violet formation became visible from an immense distance. Space outside the formation twisted, and Ling Tianhu, the middle-aged man in purple, and Master Void appeared together. Master Void opened his eyes as another spatial distortion formed, allowing the All-Seer to arrive. Ling Tianhu immediately became vigilant. While Master Void calmly acknowledged the All-Seer's greeting, Master Void explained that Ling Tianhu had invited him, and the All-Seer remarked that although he had lacked confidence previously, Master Void's arrival ensured the success of their expedition. 2 more spatial distortions appeared. On one side arrived the celestial cloud cultivation couple with Zhou Yi's shadow following behind them. On the other side appeared Wang Lin accompanied by Situan, Master Hollow Wind, and the others. As both groups observed each other, Zhou Yi's shadow trembled while looking at Wang Lin, revealing both regret and satisfaction. Wang Lin immediately recognized Zhou Yi despite not knowing the cultivation couple personally. Wang Wei looked at Wang Lin with interest and asked whether he was the one who had obtained the key to the 4th cave. Wang Lin calmly admitted it while remaining cautious because he could not perceive either Wang Wei's or Hu Wan's cultivation. Remembering Yao Shishu's description, he recognized them as the celestial cloud cultivation couple who had occupied one of the caves for countless years. Hu Wan reminded Wang Wei that he had lost their old wager. Smiling, Wang Wei then produced a blade of grass and asked if Wang Lin had placed the restriction at the entrance of the Tide Abyss in the Fire Demon country. Wang Lin immediately recognized it as his own restriction and admitted it. Wang Wei praised Wang Lin's exceptional restriction skills, saying that even he had been incapable of creating such intricate restrictions at the same age. Wang Lin politely accepted the compliment while discreetly glancing toward Zhou Yi's shadow. Zhou Yi's eyes flashed slightly, allowing Wang Lin to understand his silent message. Soon afterward, the beautiful middle-aged woman arrived with her 4 disciples, including Qianxia and the disciple expected to become the next brilliant Void Saintress. She first greeted the All-Seer, carefully examined the celestial cloud cultivation couple, nodded politely to Wang Lin, and finally stood beside Master Void. Although the All-Seer remained calm, he frowned slightly. The old man riding the good and the black-clothed man then arrived together. Upon seeing the celestial cloud cultivation couple, the old man became visibly shocked before choosing to stand beside the All-Seer. The silent black-clothed man instead walked directly toward Wang Lin's group. Wang Lin sensed his cold and aloof personality despite never speaking with him before. The black-clothed man simply requested that Wang Lin take him into the cave. And after a brief moment of thought, Wang Lin agreed. As the 9-dragon formation slowly rotated beneath its violet glow, an overwhelming demonic flame suddenly rushed toward the gathering. It transformed into a figure completely concealed by demonic energy, making it impossible to distinguish whether it was male or female. The moment this mysterious person appeared, both Wang Lin and the newcomer stared directly at each other. The figure's eyes were filled with intense hatred toward Wang Lin before it withdrew its gaze and silently took its place beside the All-Seer. The All-Seer merely nodded while turning his attention toward the distance, anticipation appearing in his eyes. A handsome bald young man dressed in red then calmly approached. His body was surrounded by celestial spiritual energy despite his demonic appearance. Smiling warmly at Wang Lin, he apologized for arriving late. Wang Lin calmly greeted him, saying that his timing was perfect. The young man was Bei Lu. His appearance caused Master Void's expression to change and filled the celestial cloud cultivation couple with cold vigilance. While the All-Seer slowly smiled, the 9-dragon formation finally activated completely. Boundless celestial spiritual energy surged as the 9 purple dragons roared and the entire area within 50 kilometers was engulfed in brilliant violet light. When the light faded, everyone had disappeared. The 5th cave had officially opened. Wang Lin and the others were transported into the mysterious 5th cave of the celestial spirit heaven realm, the most secret place belonging to celestial Lord King Lin. No one knew what the 5th cave looked like or how large it was. During King Lin's era, only he was permitted to enter, while any outsider who stepped inside was immediately killed. Even King Shuang had never entered this place, making it King Lin's greatest hidden secret. After the purple teleportation light dissipated, everyone who had entered vanished from one another's sight. Wang Lin felt as though his body had been shattered into countless fragments by the purple light. Although he experienced no pain, the sensation seemed to last forever but actually occurred in an instant. When he regained his senses, he found himself standing alone in an unfamiliar world covered entirely by endless black sand. Tornado-like winds swept across the desert, while the sky was dim and covered by a grey shroud that made anyone looking upward feel intense oppression. Wang Lin spread out his divine sense, but despite its ability to easily cover the entire demon spirit land, it could not detect the boundary of this world. Within the range of his divine sense, he found only himself, confirming that everyone had been scattered throughout the cave and that reuniting would be extremely difficult. While considering the situation, Wang Lin flew into the air. However, after rising only 100 feet, he immediately sensed a powerful crisis descending from above. Without hesitation, he landed and released a blue ray from his right eye, forming the azure light shield. At that exact moment, a strand of grey gas descended from the sky with incredible speed and struck the shield. The violent collision produced a loud explosion that forced Wang Lin back more than 100 feet before he stabilized himself. His eyes turned cold as he immediately punched forward with ancient god power. The ancient god phantom appeared behind him, and his punch shattered the grey gas. However, instead of disappearing, the shattered gas instantly split into 10 even stronger strands that attacked him simultaneously from 10 different directions. Wang Lin was forced to retreat continuously while the azure light shield blocked each attack. Every collision shook his body despite the shield's protection. After retreating more than 10,000 feet, Wang Lin spat out a mouthful of essence origin energy at the grey gas before following it with another ancient god punch. The explosion shattered all of the grey gas once again, but the result was even worse. The shattered strands transformed into more than 100 strands of even stronger grey gas that rushed toward him. Wang Lin's scalp went numb. Although the first punch had caused only minor backlash, the second punch produced severe recoil that left both of his arms aching. even though the pain gradually faded. Realizing physical attacks only multiplied the enemy, he no longer dared to attack a third time. As he continued retreating across the black sand desert, teleportation proved completely useless, while spatial bending could only move him forward by a single inch regardless of how much power he used. Wang Lin bitterly realized that he had encountered an incomprehensible danger immediately upon entering the fifth cave. Seeing that the grey gas relentlessly pursued him, killing intent flashed through his eyes. Since brute force had failed, he decided to rely on celestial spells instead. Forming a seal with his right hand, he cast Call the Wind. Dense black wind instantly appeared throughout the dim world, and 4 enormous black wind dragons emerged. However, just as the dragons appeared, the entire sky transformed as though it had become a raging sea. Countless strands of grey gas emerged throughout the sky, merged together, and formed a gigantic grey whirlwind that instantly swept away the 4 black dragons. Wang Lin was stunned by the overwhelming power of the whirlwind and immediately fled again. As it chased him, the whirlwind continuously absorbed newly appearing grey and black gas along its path, causing it to expand until it exceeded 10,000 feet in size. Wang Lin could clearly feel the terrifying suction force pulling him from behind while watching the whirlwind grow stronger every moment. Clenching his teeth, he summoned the ancient god furnace and poured ancient god power into it. The furnace instantly teleported him 1,000 feet away. Although this short distance movement gave him some hope, Wang Lin quickly realized that the whirlwind required only a single second to cover the same distance. Even exhausting all of his ancient god power through the furnace would not allow him to escape forever. The only hope was to somehow stop the whirlwind. Even briefly, he immediately reached into his storage bag and released more than a dozen flying swords. The swords formed a sword formation and charged directly toward the incoming whirlwind. Without caring about the loss, Wang Lin shouted for every sword to self-destruct. One after another, the swords exploded violently, producing countless fragments that tore through the whirlwind. The explosions finally caused the whirlwind to pause for a brief moment. Seizing this opportunity, Wang Lin repeatedly activated the ancient god furnace. It flashed 9 consecutive times, transporting him nearly 10,000 feet away. However, his relief lasted only an instant before the whirlwind resumed its pursuit. Refusing to give up, Wang Lin tore open a spatial crack and summoned the phantom of the god-slaying spear. Grasping it firmly, he hurled it with all his strength. The spear pierced through the center of the whirlwind before unleashing its devastating destructive power. The massive whirlwind completely collapsed under the explosion. Wang Lin immediately used the ancient god furnace dozens of times in succession to increase the distance between them. However, when he looked back, his face instantly turned pale. Just like the grey gas earlier, the destroyed whirlwind had split into dozens of whirlwinds identical to the original. And every one of them was real rather than an illusion. They continued pursuing him while absorbing more grey gas from the surroundings. Becoming stronger with every passing moment, Wang Lin finally understood that neither physical attacks, treasures, nor celestial spells could truly eliminate the phenomenon. Every attempt to destroy it only created more enemies. If the dozens of whirlwinds shattered again, they would become hundreds, leaving him no possibility of escape. The whirlwinds rapidly closed the distance while the ancient god furnace consumed more and more of his ancient god power. Realizing that continued retreat would only allow the whirlwinds to grow even stronger, Wang Lin decisively abandoned escape. He unleashed all of his ancient god power, and his body rapidly expanded into the towering true body of an ancient god, standing thousands of feet tall as though supporting heaven and earth itself. His 5 ancient god stars spun rapidly while 10 enormous whirlwinds approached from every direction. Letting out a world-shaking roar, Wang Lin no longer retreated. Instead, he advanced toward the enemy. Activating the ancient god furnace once more, he instantly disappeared and reappeared directly in front of one of the giant whirlwinds, preparing to confront it head-on. Meanwhile, deep within the 5th cave stood a wooden bridge spanning a river of black water. Beneath the bridge, terrifying shadows occasionally flashed through the water. Sitting motionlessly upon the bridge was a mysterious figure whose appearance could not be seen because he was clad in armor and completely enveloped by dense black devilish fog that filled the surroundings with overwhelming devilish energy, making the place resemble a devilish hell. Floating before him was a small bottle sealed tightly with a cork so that its contents remained hidden. The mysterious figure slowly opened his bloodthirsty eyes, licked his lips, and spoke in a hoarse voice that sounded like bones grinding together. Wondering who would be the first person to emerge from the cave because it had been many years since he had last tasted human flesh,